Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, or iHeartRadio. This is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. I did not post yesterday, kind of got crammed up in my time, but I will be giving you the kind of the double dose here, 2 days of it. I'll cut out any, moot points, because obviously this Rodgers situation is where I'm still being held captive on this, because this is like all I have to talk about right now. There is hardly ever something this huge. But, alright, so the Packers seem to be in jeopardy here. Now, the thing is, where would Rodgers go? And where would he win other than Green Bay right now? Because the Bucs got their guy. Chiefs got their guy. Bills got their guy. I think if he goes to the Saints, he has a great chance of winning. But, Drew Brees didn't even with that. But then again, an old Drew Brees is not as good as a prime Aaron Rodgers right now. I think what he saw is he keeps going to the NFC Championship game. He's been patient. He was still 1-3, which is embarrassing enough for a guy that's supposed to be that good. But I think this was the last straw. He's now 1-4, and Tom Brady has been in the NFC 1 year and already has the same amount of NFC championships as him. And he saw the two guys in the Super Bowl, Mahomes. He watched him in free agency get all the offensive linemen he wanted. And they restructured his deal. They gave him a new contract. Brady got to handpick his team. He said, let's keep Fournette. They kept Fournette. Let's keep AB. Let's keep AB. Sign Gronk. They signed Gronk. They did everything Brady wanted. And, it's different from the Russell Wilson situation. Like, people are comparing it to that. It's different. Wilson just wanted a little more protection. He wasn't asking for, a whole new contract and to get the GM out of the organization. He was just asking for a little bit of protection, And a little input on personnel decisions because he doesn't think they know what they're doing, really. And a lot of this ties back to the Jordan Love pick last year. That was the crappiest thing I've ever seen done to a franchise quarterback. I'm sure there's been worse done to a franchise quarterback, but has there been a quarterback who came off making the NFC Championship? One of the top quarterbacks in the league, top 5 still. Coming off an NFC Championship year, 13-3. Have a team trade up, voluntarily trade up. It's not the Brett Favre situation. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers was the second best quarterback in the draft class, and he fell to them at 24. And Favre was old at the time. Let's be honest, he was going downhill. Rodgers was not going downhill. And Love did not fall into their lap. And Love was not one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft. Alright? And Rodgers, it's not like Rodgers, I think Favre came off throwing a pick in the NFC Championship game, he blew it. Their run game was horrid in that game. Raheem Mostert, and I'm not saying he's bad, Raheem Mostert was good, but 4 touchdowns. I didn't mind when they got destroyed by Dalvin Cook, because that's Dalvin Cook, he's amazing, but Raheem Mostert's average. He wants to go forward. That ain't good. But he was on the Dan Patrick show a couple months ago, and, Dan Patrick somehow, he's really good at getting information out of people. I don't know how he does it. With Russell Wilson, he simply asked him, have you been in personnel decisions? He said no. And would you like to? I don't know. I don't know how he gets this out of them, but he somehow tied everything. I think they were talking about, I don't know what he was doing, but they were talking about something, and it somehow got tied into draft night and everything. And then he asked him, when did you find out about Jordan Love? He said, about 5 seconds before. You know how he probably found out about Jordan Love? Adam Schefter's Twitter account. I don't think that's a good thing to do to your franchise quarterback. When you have a guy as respected as Rodgers has been, a 3-time MVP, how many quarterbacks have done that? How many quarterbacks have won 3 MVPs? Brady, Manning, did Joe? Let me check this. Here, I'll come back to that later. But seriously, how many quarterbacks have won 3 MVPs in the Super Bowl? Not many. Like 3 MVPs in the Super Bowl. He's one of the most well respected quarterbacks in the league. And you just embarrassed him on draft night, trading up for a guy that, seriously, he wasn't Trevor Lawrence. If you could get Trevor Lawrence, I'd go. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't mind it. But you alright, let's see this. 3-time MVPs for quarterbacks. Favre, Unitas, Brady, and Peyton Manning. Okay, and Rodgers is 5. There's 5 quarterbacks that have won 3 or more MVPs in the Super Bowl. Only 5. I think that's pretty good. And they decided, we're just not going to tell him what Jordan Love. We're just going to draft him. No. It's not something you do. As a competent GM would not have done that. Now, I don't think the answer is getting rid of Ryan Gutekunst. I think he did a good job in this draft. I've said this before. I don't know why people are criticizing it. I think it's a good draft. It's not like last year where they... And I understand some of them, okay, Rodgers may have not had his best year, but that doesn't mean you draft a quarterback. And yes, Aaron Jones may have been a free agent after this year, but doesn't mean you go after a running back. So, I mean... I don't understand why they... And I think, I hate being nitpicky. I hate nitpicking. I like seeing the big picture and stuff. But I think it's very big that they traded up instead of letting him just fall. If Jordan Love fell to 30th, which he probably would have, because you have to look at this too. They could have gotten Jordan Love 4 picks down at 30. So why'd you trade up? It's like if you're married and you go to a singles nightclub to get a new girlfriend. That's pretty much what it is. Like, you're married, but, and it's not like there's just a girl coming up to you that you suddenly like. You're going to a club to pick up someone. That's not something you do. I don't know why. See, that's why I'm confused, though, because, that's why I don't know who signed him on. Because Rodgers doesn't have to. I mean, Green Bay is siding with Green Bay. The organization. But I think they have another reason to be booing Gutekunst. Gutekunst is the guy that screwed us up. They've done so many... It's not just about Jordan Love, either. There's been other things they did that I've kind of tweaked Rodgers. And they know Aaron can be a little petty and difficult. So they know he's going to be petty and difficult. If you know that, don't do these dumb things you're doing right now. And he's not even asking for that much. For a guy that's known as a difficult person, he doesn't ask for much. He asked them to re-sign Jared Cook. He asked them to re-sign Jared Cook a couple years ago. Jared Cook had one good play in the NFC Championship game. or not in the divisional rounds. All right, he had the Player of the Year, and I'll give that to him. I will. But that's not a lot to ask for. Re-sign Jared Cook, and Jared Cook is not worth a lot. He can't be worth that much. But they decided not to resign him. They fired the quarterback coach without telling him. Didn't do anything. He should have said something. I would have said something. I'd be like, hey, thanks for the heads up, buddy. Let's look at Jared Cook's stats real quick that year Rodgers asked him to re-sign him. Okay, 300 yards, 30 receptions, and 1 touchdown. That's not a big guy to ask for, but he asked for him. You know, they've done a lot of things without telling Rodgers, and it's tweaking him at this point. So I don't know. I mean, this is kind of... I'm, like, reading both sides right now, and I'm obviously kind of showing a slight bias towards Rodgers, but, I mean, look at what they've done. It almost feels like they've done this to themselves, but then again, I don't know if Rodgers is asking for a little... Like, I think Rodgers is asking for a little too much to fire the GM, and he won't return. I think that's a little dramatic, but... You know, it's a terrible situation that I think it's a hole that the Packers dug themselves. Stop it with the music. Alright, so the Chiefs are the favorite. The Super Bowl odds came out today. The Chiefs are the favorite. Obviously. Bucks are obviously second. Those were the consensus too, because they went to the Super Bowl last year. Bills are right behind. The Packers are still a fourth, even though a lot of people are giving up on them after the Rodgers situation. Rams are fifth. Niners are seventh. That's kind of a dark horse there. I'd watch the Niners. They're definitely a team to look at. Jimmy G brought them to a Super Bowl a couple years ago. 2 years. They're only 2 years removed from it. That's definitely a dark horse for them. So if you're looking to bet, Niners are a good dark horse. I mean, it's the Niners. What are their odds? Their odds are plus 1,400. Okay, so plus 1,400. Bet that on the Niners. Plus 1,400 to win the Super Bowl when they're only 2 years removed from it. You know, that's a good idea there. But the Chiefs are definitely the favorite. They're definitely the best team in the league right now. They reached out with that O-line. Picked up some good pieces in free agency and the draft. So, alright. That's my reactions to the Super Bowl odds there. So for Rodgers, the odds are Green Bay's obviously first. There's some crazy teams out here. And I said this about J.J. Watt. Like, they threw out, like, the Browns, you know, and I really didn't buy any of that. Like, the Browns, they don't need to... They got Olivier Vernon. They didn't re-sign him, so I don't know why they didn't do that, but at the time, it was not needed for them. So, I mean, it was just confusing. And, like, here, you got teams like the Browns are, I think, the 6th best odds. Baker Mayfield just had his best year. Alright, the best of Mayfield is yet to come. Mark my words. The Chargers are the 5th best odds. That makes 0 sense. They got Justin Herbert, who just won Rookie of the Year. The Dolphins makes a bit of sense, because I mean, if you can get a guy like Rodgers, I would trade Tua for Rodgers. I would. And I said this about with Deshaun Watson. I mean, if you can get a guy like Deshaun Watson, go for it. But if he's not available, it's dumb to move off a quarterback after his first year. What if he becomes better than Deshaun Watson? Because that's not a stretch. It is a stretch to say he's going to be better than Rodgers, though. That's a bit of a stretch. So, I think at his best, he's a poor man. It's not even a poor